Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we're going to be talking about Flare Network, aka Flare. So, with that being said, I hope that you guys are all having a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are out there in the world. And let's start off with a few things because one, it's been so long since I've actually made a Flare video. I have not made enough content around Flare, obviously, but I've been following it for so long, since going all the way back to 2020, being an XRP holder. This is when we start to hear about the airdrop and how big this is going to be. It's a game changer. Now, it was a while until we actually got the airdrop, but regardless, right, we've been hearing a lot about Flare for so long. A lot has changed essentially since the initial days. Flare has started to become a very large project on its own. Flare has, really kind of gained a ton of spotlight attention on it, especially for a lot of the projects and the initiatives behind it. But also just because Flare itself is a solid project. I've talked about it in the past. Now for XRP, is it a big deal for XRP and for, what Ripple's trying to do? I mean, yeah, technically it is. One of the initial things was FXRP, right? So this was the bridge to allow XRP to be used on Ethereum. This was August of 2020, by the way. Now, this was a two-way bridge connecting XRP to the Ethereum ecosystem. And you're probably thinking, well, Nick, don't we have the EVM sidechain coming? We already kind of have this, right? Well, this was something that we were focused on for a bit of time back in 2020. And up until just recently, it was still in progress, right? So this was the trustless bridge will allow XRP on the Flare network, known as FXRP, to be used within the Ethereum network while providing a scaling platform for Ethereum tokens and applications. Like I said, this was one of the biggest things everyone was talking about back in 2020. And it's actually kind of funny because we even see here, the connection to Ethereum was needed at all in terms of questioning if it was, and it will only slow down the Flare network. Ethereum's fees hit $99 for some DeFi users recently amid network congestion. It's kind of funny, but here we have a quote from Brad Garlinghouse actually in terms of Flare and what it will offer users in terms of the best of both worlds. From my point of view, Flare is combining the best of XRP, very fast settlement, Ethereum, smart contracts, and Avalanche for consensus, which helps extend XRP's utility and allows developers to create smart contracts for new use cases like lending and DeFi. Now, this was always the initial viewpoint of how big Flare could very well be, especially even for XRP holders. But it's kind of started to gain its own spotlight outside of just XRP and XRP holders itself, because everyone loved Flare for the airdrop mainly. But over here we have from Mickey B. Fresh. This goes back to February 18th of 2021, actually. And this is where we're starting to kind of look at what's happening around DeFi, tokenization, stablecoins, all that kind of stuff. Now, there's a lot of great quotes within here in terms of, decentralized exchanges, DeFi itself, how big DeFi has grown into. Here we have, new DeFi platforms essentially being predicted, bridges, sidechain projects between networks and smart contract applications to emerge as interoperability and efficiency increases in importance. Over here, we have the XRP Ledger ecosystem is poised to build on significant 2020 achievements, leadership role in DeFi, a variety of projects such as Flare and XRP Ledger transaction hooks. A lot of this still, was in progress. Like in 2021, none of this stuff really kind of morphed into reality up until just recently, where we started to see a lot of these things, being passed and approved on the actual ledger. And this is more so talking even about tokenization on XRP. But outside of this, how big is Flare now versus all of these speculative things happening prior, right? Well, over here we have Flare Network introduces FXRP assets to enhance XRP adoption via Web3 industry. This is February 12th, 2024. This continues to become a big focus point. Like I said, Flare is a pretty big thing for XRP and even the entire XRP ledger and ecosystem. Again, this is all fully focused on the adoption of XRP, the adoption of DeFi, interoperability in terms of a multi-chain future as well, which again, I always look at as a big deal. But here we also have a quote from Hugo. We have FXRP will enable XRP to come to Flare and also other ecosystems through Layer Cake. This lets dApp developers build dApps that can interact with the multiple cross-chain assets that will exist and already exist on Flare. Now, if hooks were on the XRP ledger, Flare could also serve its high-quality decentralized data to dApps built using hooks. Now, again, the hooks in terms of the XRP ledger, that's already in progress. It's already happening on the XRP ledger. We've been also focused on that in terms of the amendments. But outside of all of this, right, this is going to be a game changer for XRP and for the entire XRP ecosystem. Again, there's always a lot of hate and there's always a lot of, back and forth when it comes to things like this. But all of this is to really kind of solidify the entire ecosystem and really kind of build upon it and allow for that multi-chain future that we always talk about to be realized in. It's not always about, hey, my project's better than yours or this and that. Like, it's all ridiculous. All of this in terms of collaboration is crucial. But right now, today, Flare has been doing a very solid move since its bottom back in October, actually, roughly sub 1 cent. Right now, it's sitting at about roughly 4 cents. Fully diluted market cap, $4 billion. Market cap right now, about roughly $1.5 billion. Again, we already know about Flare. We've known about Flare for a very long time. I don't think that I needed to even make a video on Flare to make people aware of it. But I made a video in the past. I've talked about Flare back in 2021. It's always been one of those products that everyone has been anticipating for a very long time. And today, more than ever, I think people should be focused on what Flare is becoming and doing. Some of the recent things that have been happening around Flare, though, is the supply being burnt. So 2.1 billion Flare is their multi-year plan. So we have another 66 million Flare just burned, bringing our total to 595 million towards our 2.1 billion Flare multi-year plan. These Flare were originally allocated to early backers, but agreed to adjust their allocation to benefit you. Less competition for Flare drops and reduced dilution for Flare holders. Now, currently speaking, we actually look at this wallet address, there's about roughly 951 million Flare burnt in this address, which is very significant. And we can actually see all of the transactions here. Some of it is Songbird and other things as well. But there is still a ton of Flare in here that is completely burnt. There's roughly almost $40 million in this address alone in terms of the supply being burnt. Again, it's not a very significant chunk, but it is something to start, right? Because total supply, roughly 100 billion, 559 million, 787,198 Flare is the total supply. Circulating supply, almost 37 billion. But regardless, it is still something to watch for because these burns could very well add up in a very significant way. And so far, there's almost 1 billion burnt already. Now, outside of this, right? AI. Right, I've been focused on AI and the convergence with blockchain for a very long time. Flare is also now looking at this new approach to AI, which is consensus learning. So Flare proposes a new approach to AI where blockchain integration leads to safer and more accurate AI. Learn how consensus learning can power greater collaboration in data-sensitive sectors. So this is actually a pretty big deal. There's a lot to read here. I'm not going to waste your guys' time and read all of this. In fact, there was a great summary put out by Flare on how all of this will improve AI. So we have AI's wisdom of crowds. This is consensus learning. CL, introduced by Flare Research, efficiently combines knowledge from multiple sources without compromising sensitive data. Some key benefits of harnessing CL for AI, and here we have full decentralization with the increasing complexity of ML models, machine learning models for anyone that didn't know, and their demands for vast quantities of data. Decentralized ML helps preserve data privacy and ensure security. Over here, we also have consensus learning, benefits of consensus learning, security, the built-in consensus mechanisms, ensure the system refrains from generating deliberate, harmful predictions or intentional inaccuracies. And then also data privacy. Neither the underlying data of network participants nor their individual models are shared at any point. Then also over here, efficiency. The learning process has low latency and requires much less computation time, energy, and resources as compared to other state-of-the-art decentralized ML methods. So again, as we look at AI, very big narrative, something that definitely needs things behind it in order for AI to be adopted at scale. Blockchain is the missing key around AI. I've always said this when it comes to even Casper, for an example, and other initiatives around this space. Blockchain and AI, it's a perfect thing to really kind of harness both of them at the same exact time. Them coming together and converging is a very big deal to me, because AI only continues to grow at rapid pace, and having these networks like this, like in terms of Flare networks, right? Like this is fully focused on data. Data has become the new oil, because being able to transparently see data and trust it and extract it is so big. It's something that for the longest time was not achievable, but with blockchain, you now can do that. That's why as we look at data and even AI, the data in terms of a transparent manner and something that you could trust, it unlocks those opportunities to adopt AI at scale and have automated workflows, if you will, as well. I mean, this is a game changer, realistically speaking, right? But outside of this, there was also a great focus put on AI behind the new upgrade. So this is a big upgrade around Flare. So we have the upgrade of the Flare Time Series Oracle will give dApp developers access to a wider range of up to 1,000 data feeds, with updates possible every block, 1 to 2 seconds. FTSO V2 is a stepping stone to realize the vision of Flare as the blockchain for data. And they kind of gave us a little bit of a summary over here in terms of the upgrade. So Flare's upgraded Oracle FTSO V2 offers faster updates, wider data coverage, and low cost, all while staying decentralized. Now, here are some of the comparisons in terms of like FTSO V1, which was supported around 18 data feeds. Now, with this, it initially supports over 50 feeds with the design capable of scaling to 1,000 feeds. This is great for being able to access so much data in a transparent, decentralized way that you can trust. And here's the key improvement: update frequency. Again, if you guys want to read more into this, you guys are more than welcome to. I don't want to waste your guys' time fully. The big thing to note with all of this is a major upgrade to the entire network. It's a very big change. Now, why is this big for like AI, for an example? Well, over here we have, with the rise of AI and real-world assets, the next generation of blockchain dApps will shine only with high integrity and censorship-resistant data. Flare Network's FTSO V2 upgrade will bring gas consumption and latency to the barest minimum, bringing more data on chain. And yes, right, like obviously AI is a huge narrative. It's a huge opportunity for blockchain. But what about tokenization of real-world assets, right? You need to be able to trust the data. You need to make sure that it is extremely secure. This is where a lot of these networks shine, like Flare, for an example, right? Because you're not going to be able to tokenize, $100 trillion plus asset classes like real estate without trusted, transparent data that has high integrity behind it. This is why I look at what these networks are doing, what they're becoming, and how they are changing the game. And a lot of the recent announcements around Flare are only hinting at a much brighter future for the entire network. Like, for an example, here's another great integration with Flare, which is through Hypernative Labs. This is a Web3 security leader. So this is providing a lot of great security for Flare. Hypernative's proactive detection has stopped $14 billion plus in potential losses by identifying 270 plus exploits. And this is their expertise in action as well. Again, they kind of break this fully down, but this integration, like things like this happening around Flare, this is great because even as they say here, teaming up with Hypernative enables Flare users, institutions, and dApps to access their top-tier security suite. This includes real-time monitoring, critical alerts, and direct assistance during attacks. Flare's architecture with enshrined oracles supports high-value DeFi and AI use cases. Hibernative's monitoring provides an additional layer of defense. Again, when we're talking about this and accessing data as well, security is one of the biggest things. It is a pillar behind these networks. It will be the making or the breaking point for a lot of these networks in terms of mass adoption at scale. This is why I love to see what Flare is doing. I love to see these major changes happening. And these are just recent changes. The upgrade, the burning, like all of this combined is what's setting Flare up to have a major run this cycle. But also look at the ecosystem. There's over 300 plus projects right now building out on Flare. Some of these are, meme coins, things like that, but there's also a lot of great projects on here around specific things like AI, RWAs, you name it. And they even have the grant program behind this as well. Very similar to other, projects within the space. That's only going to continue to allow for a lot more adoption of the network, a lot more applications to be created, things like that. I'm very, very excited about the future for Flare. I'm definitely going to be watching this one closely. I've always, watched the updates, listened to some of the AMMs, things like that since 2020. But I really do think that we're starting to see these networks that have builders behind them, that has a team focused on, the technology behind it and further in the technology. And now we're starting to kind of see these projects shine. So I'm very excited to see what happens with Flare. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, though. If you did enjoy the video, definitely leave a like, subscribe to notifications on. If you guys want more free content, you guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.